Hi everyone, and welcome to a little video on training methods. This might help when it comes to putting together your assignment to understand how we put training programs together. Now just remember that there's an overarching training principle that covers all training programs, and that is the notion of the FITT formula. So as you can see here, we have what we call our frequency, so how often we're going to do the workout, intensity, so how hard we're going to work when we do that workout. We need to know how long we're going to work out for, so we need to know our time, and of course type. What kind of exercise are we going to actually do? Are we going to run? Are we going to do some kind of push-up? All of that. But let's have a look at the types of training methods. So we have here a list of them. There is a continuous training method, circuit, fartlek, interval, resistance, flexibility, and plyometric. So these are just essentially different ways that you can do a workout. So let's have a look at them in detail. So this first one here is what we call a continuous workout, or a continuous method, and that is you just basically doing the exercise with no rest period for a certain lengthy period of time. So for example, going for a run, swimming some laps at the local pool, or riding your bike around the block a couple of times, things like that. So the goal for a continuous workout is to try and improve our cardiovascular or our muscular endurance fitness components. Now, a circuit method or circuit training program is what we're working on for our projects. And you can see here in the diagram that we've got a series of different stations of what the little person doing the workout has to do. So everything from doing sit-ups to push-ups and other little exercises which I'm having trouble reading, but you can see them there anyway, ski jumps and stepping up onto a bench. Each of those little stations should have a set amount of times that each person should do that activity. Remember, we need to try and sit in with our frequency and time ideas. So you might have someone doing ski jumps for a minute, or you might actually specify how many ski jumps you want them to do. You need to do 25 ski jumps before going to the next station. Both of those ways are acceptable. So that's a circuit, and that's what we're going to be looking at with our assignment. Now, this next one is fartlek. It's not often used or not often explained very well, but basically fartlek training methods are when you are going to change the speed or the terrain that you're working in. So if you're trying to improve someone's cardiovascular, and they might play a sport like football or soccer where they go through periods of time where they're running and then walking and then sprinting, you would try and match that. You could set it up on a track like we've got down the bottom here, and you can get the person to do a jog lap and then a fast lap and then maybe one where they stop and then go again and stop and go again, because it mimics what they do when they play a game of their chosen sport. So that's fartlek training. Interval training is where we mix up our rest periods or our light work periods with hard work. So if you think about your usual PE lessons, we always start off with a warm-up, and it's normally pretty low-key. We might get you to go for a gentle jog, and then we'll do some stretching, but your body's not working too hard. Then you think about a really high activity that we might make you do. Race around, run around, do a quick relay race together or something like that, where the intensity is quite high, your heart rate goes up, and you're breathing pretty hard. So we want to work pretty hard, but then we're going to drop it, and then you're going to do a lightweight thing. So maybe walk, get a drink of water, come back, and then again back to another high intensity activity, and so on and so forth. So the whole training session would be like that. This also mimics what happens in team sports when you go from being the person that's managing the ball and trying to move play, and then being someone who drifts back into their position when the ball's not in that part of the court or field. So that's interval training. Resistance training is when you've got to work against a force. So it's one of the most popular ones we think about when we think about people going for a workout. We think of them going to the gym. And you can see here that they are working against weights in particular here. So you can see this lady has a barbell with some weights on it. And the argument could be that it's a low intensity resistance because there's not many weights there. Whereas this fella at the back here, he's got a lot more weight there, so we could argue that he is doing working at a higher resistance because it's a higher weight. You can also use things like resistance bands or your own body weight. So if you think about when you do a push-up, you've got to push your whole body off the floor. So you're essentially moving your weight every time. We have flexibility is obviously a really important training method. We use it often in most workouts for a warm-up and a cool-down. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to improve the range of motion and movement that we have in a joint. So if you think about some of our different sports and activities that we participate in, like for example dancing, we need a lot of range of motion. If I'm a full forward, I want to be able to kick goals from not just 20 metres but from 55 metres out, so I'm going to want to make sure I've got nice range of motion in my hip joint. But also a dancer's going to want that really good range of motion in their hip joint for when they do, say, the splits, so that they can actually perform that to look exactly how they want it to look. So when we think about stretching and doing things like yoga and Pilates and where we're holding our body in place, we've got things, a lot of those stretches are static stretches. So when you're holding yourself in a position, is a static stretch. A dynamic stretch though is when we are moving into the stretch and then moving back out, moving back in and then moving back out, trying to get a little bit more range of motion each time. And a lot of you would have done partner stretches before, like if you think about when you do your calf stretches and you both reach forward and you press against each other and you lean into one another, but you're providing the stretch in your calf. Last one I want to talk about is plyometrics. It's very popular, particularly with things like the F45 workouts that people are getting into. Some people are trying to do it at home as well during isolation. And basically it is where you do lots of explosive action. So it's jumping up onto boxes and jumping back down again. It's lifting heavy things and dropping them straight away. It's all of these things that improve your speed and your muscular power. Very popular with sports like basketball, where you need to be able to jump nice and high. It's AFL when you're leaping. It's dance when you need to bounce and bound into different positions. Netball when you leap up for the rebound. All those things require a little bit of plyometrics. So they're the different types of training methods that we often talk about, and hopefully this little video helped. Thank you.